This is gonna be kind of a different video than I'm normally used to doing right now, but I'm here joining my former, not former, not my former, but with my fellow guildmate, Red Max. I want to say former, but that's not true. But we're here discussing, just in brief, the whole deal with this brand new Zenkai that's been announced about 30 minutes ago from the time of this recording here, and it's gonna be Kale, the Berserk one, and I will have to say. Uh, Not specifically the tag, but female warriors finally getting some love again after a year of drought. Because now they're deciding to give everybody from the year one some Zenkai love and hopefully making them meta relevant. Because for the past 2 years, it's always been either some future, some God Key, dare I say fusions, what they've been doing, and even probably to this day, a lot of the those units are still pretty much busted. Like I would say, Red Gogeta, the Red Zenkai 7 Gogeta, is still pretty much a good, like really solid unit for his team. It's still really competitive. So going forward here, we got Kale. Kale's getting a Zenkai. All they said was, and I'm gonna pull up the page here. Was it Zenkai, Super Saiyan Kale Berserk Zenkai Awakening incoming? Her attacks and counters are stronger. Unlock all her uniques to get card draw speed up and 30% to next arts damage inflicted after an enemy attack. Unleash a powerful counter after a cover change. So that's pretty much all we're running off on. And we'll get to the other news of that Red 17 that Red Max just told me about. But this is kind of just kind of guessing more or less of what the kit's going to be, and also kind of looking what she has right now. I'll let you get on next, Red, but I want to say my piece first here. But
I know, I'm just letting you.
looking at her kit here, I can already tell just thinking about what the Zenkai ability is going to be. It's going to be red rival universe. Right away, it's going to be red rival universe. There's going to be no red female, sorry, girls tag supporter for this unit if they're going to be following the template that the purple Caulifla was given. So, was it Z ability wise? Was it 33% to tags girls and Universe 6? Obviously, Universe 6 is a dead tag now. They're no longer going to be supporting that. Girls is kind of debatable. They tend to be doing, making like EXs give that buff to that specific tag. So, I don't think it's dead like Universe 6 is. But in terms of like the Zenkai ability, I'm definitely 100% sure it's going to be Red Rival Universe, which is going to be, I think, one of the we have a red hit, right? Isn't the other hit red?
Well, yeah, there's like one red hit
Yeah.
that never saw the daylight.
Yeah, so this might be a good turning point for him. But the biggest winner for that Zenkai ability is gonna be dun, da, 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 Red Kefla. Red Kefla. And I know Red Kefla is going to be one of those units that people are going to be like, wait a minute, what if she looks good on whatever team she's running on, whether it be Fusions, Rival Universe, or Girls, which obviously I'm probably going to be the only one covering. But Red Kefla was such an underwhelming unit, even after getting her to Red 7, that I put her in the box right after I was initially done with her, because besides being probably the only relevant red unit for the team I run in quite some time, she was very underwhelming. And I will agree with Goresh in saying that there is an entire passive that relies heavily on the actions of another player that, technically speaking, won't really happen that often. So it's like, well, you could just ignore that passive altogether, and all she has is one passive that's kind of okay. So going forward here for Kale, she's got your basic strike, basic blast, gigantic impact, unlock key, form of life. Let's see. How was this? Okay, this main ability is garbage too. And then we got the intimidate and cover. So we're gonna go into each detail, starting with the whatchamacallit, with the arts cards very soon. But what I want to see from this character is I want to see this character actually do some work. In terms of they're talking about what was this? What they say here? Unleash a powerful attack and after a cover change. So if I remember correctly, she was the unit that you threw into rising rushes and she could survive it, and then also disrupt combos, similar to how Red 21 was doing, or is doing right now. So if she's destroying two cards and making fulfilling that role yet again, I want to see a little bit more to it than just being disruption. I understand she's a defense unit, but give her some good utility that I failed to see from the free to play 18 that just came out. So yeah. So in terms of how we're gonna structure this Red Max, kind of want to have an opening thoughts of the unit, and then afterwards we'll go into the kit one by one and see what we think is gonna happen to it. So with my opening stuff said, open up there. What is your thoughts for this Kale, and what you would hope that they would do for it?
Okay, so my overall thoughts for Kale is that I want her to help Rival Universe because as one of the Rival Universe reigns, I really want this Kale to like come up and just start disrupting everything because Rival Universe is really known for their tanking. So I want this Kale to excel in that, but I also want her to help girls a lot because girls need a red. And I wouldn't say like a free to play 21 isn't really cutting it, but we kind of need something better than a free to play unit. I was kind of already like not in the tag girls and didn't boost it already. So looking at her kit already, she's gonna be that one annoying character that you're just gonna hate fighting. But she comes in and just destroys two cards. Like that reminds me of like Yellow Gohan, Yellow LF Gohan.
Mm.
He is still relevant in this meta to this day, and it's honestly crazy how he's still just brought up in so many conversations, and it's been a whole year since he's been out. So I would like for this Kale to have as much impact as the Future On has, but don't make her like too annoying to the point where it's just like, wow, I just don't really want to fight you anymore.
Oh man. Well said. Well said. I actually pretty I agree with you on that. I'm this Kale has to perform in a sense as a super wall. Like she's a defense. We know that stat wise. If I were to lean into that going forward now, um, stat wise, her main goal is to just tank attacks, so that way you could start a combo up and probably go into a more damage dealing oriented unit. I don't think they're gonna make her stats extremely like offensive. It's they're just going to make her probably a tank wise. Like I'm not much into the numbers here. Like the numbers are kind of irrelevant to me sometimes because I know people are like, oh, that's a good stat spread, but I think more or less in terms of her usability, it's going to be defense and disruption, similar to how 21 is, but 21 is actually disruption and a nuclear blast unit. Like she's amazing when it comes to blast. But so let's move forward here. So we're gonna go in order of the kit. If you're taking a look at the stream right now, which if you're not, it's okay. But if we're gonna be going from the arts cards and going down. So the first one we're gonna look over here is Strike and Blast. These are pretty basic. I don't know. I don't really follow too many Zenkais that come out, but do they ever modify the basic Strike and Blast cards to be something else, or do they leave them unchanged?
I don't remember like any time that they've done it, but then if they do it, it'll be pretty big one day.
Mm. Okay, so I doubt they're gonna start with Kale. So we'll just assume that this is not really gonna change much. But I do know the blue and the green do end up getting buffs, depending on how antiquated the mechanic is. So we'll start with her super attack here, the gigantic impact. So according here, we got deals major explode damage, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, +5 to substitution count for 15 timer counts on hit. Now, I'm gonna say this: if they're adding already 5 to substitution count or sub count, that's a pretty big. That's a pretty big. If they make her like dealing with normal damage we have in the meta, and she's forcing them to have 5 more timer counts. I don't think that timer count's gonna go up that much. I don't think the 5 is gonna go up, but if it does go up, it's probably gonna be maybe 6 or 7 to sub count, because you're pretty much shutting down switching to another team when you do that. And I think probably the only change they're gonna make is probably let's see. Deals major downgrade +5 substitution count for 15 timer counts. They'll probably, I don't even know they're gonna change this one. If anything, it's probably gonna be go from 15 timer counts to 20, and then probably they're not even gonna change the 5 sub count at all. It's just gonna go from 15 to 20. I don't know. What do you think they're gonna do to change the blue card?
Okay, so I agree with you, like not them changing much, but the one thing that I want them to change, and this might be a little bit of a mean move, but I want them to add a feint to it.
Like Broly.
Yeah, like Broly, just like 30% chance to faint, and just like right there.
Hmm.
And then it'll just be good right there because it's already perfect enough. Just you give it that little feint, and then you're good.
I guess if they really want to make it very parallel to the Broly that's out there, make it eat other super attacks, because you know how some super attacks in the game they'll either clash or they cancel each other out. I believe there are a few super attacks in the game that when they're launched, the actually overpower the other one and go and actually take out the other opponent. I don't know if that's worth them doing that, but definitely would be interested in that. So okay, that's adding feint. I actually didn't think about that. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so her green. Actually, her green was one of the my favorite things to do back then because healing was such a rare thing back when the game started. Um, in terms of just a green card, because I remember when the game first started, if you wanted to heal, you were playing as Piccolo. so, so green restores own health by 15%, plus 15% to blast damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. So I already can tell here 15% to own health. That's kind of sort of big. Like I know some greens heal up only what 5-10% or something, but 15% is pretty darn good. The 15% to blast damage, I feel like they could probably bump that up to maybe like 30%, 40%, just because 15% is so unnoticeable that I think that it's not going to be that game changing unless they really bank on you to be using the green card just for healing specifically. Now, if she's being ran on a with Zenkai Android 18, which I'm starting to use again because of how the meta is changing, her constantly bringing in green cards is pretty much going to be um, a solid way for this Kale to come back from the brink of death and just keep spamming green cards in there. But it costs 19. I'm hoping maybe they could lower the cost a little bit, maybe make it 15 or dare I say 10. But one thing I would love for them to change is it probably add some key, maybe add in 30 key, 40 key every time she uses this, just so she kind of has that ability to heal herself and also continue a combo instead of running into that problem that I have with the free to play 18 where you use the green and you're kind of dead in the water because your combo's kind of ended by that point. You're not really able to extend it and be flexible. So in terms of this one, I'm hoping they could probably. I don't think they're gonna to change the amount of healing, but probably change the amount of blast damage you get. Probably increase the timer counts, probably to what 40 seconds or something around those lines. Probably what, maybe 20 seconds. And probably throw in some key in there just so she could have some flexibility. What about you, Red?
Uh, I agree with you with the key. I don't think they're going to change the restore health because I'm actually on Legends right now.
Hmm.
If you go to like the recent LF Bardock that I just pulled today,
Mm.
uh, his green card heals 15% already. So that's already pretty good itself, meaning that he's already like getting most health that a recent LF is getting. So
Mm.
there's no reason to change that.
Okay.
Yes, and I agree with you with the key thing. Just give her some key and then make that blast damage inflicted just normal inflicted damage. Then she's good to go.
Oh, true. Because yeah, that would actually open up her kit a little bit more in terms of just regular damage. Because if you don't have any blast cards, that's not doing much for you. Oh man, actually, ooh, wild thought here. But because green cards have been so relevant in the game, why not do something similar to Red 21, where the green card not only does that, but it changes all your was it strike arts to blast starts.
Blast.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you're
that would be.
yeah, because you're guaranteeing yourself the ability to use a blast arts card, also getting some key, and it's a Zenkai unit, so might as well add in something premium for it. And I really believe that the Red 21's green is very much a standard to follow. Like You want to use that. You want to get extra damage for your blast. You need a blast card, so we'll give one to you. So that'd be cool. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, so main ability. Now the main ability, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I really feel like it is probably the most garbage main ability I've seen looking back, and it's uncontrollable power applies the following effects to self. Plus 10% the damage inflicted for over 10 timer counts after enemy attack is over. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, plus 10% to damage received for 10 timer counts every time this character uses an arts card. So there's no cap on that, and it takes 15 timer counts to elapse. I remember big time back in the day when I was using this unit, I had no idea what this passive was doing, or this main ability was doing, and just the fact that now I'm reading it and it's like, okay, so this is a permanent 10% damage inflicted for 10 timer counts after an enemy attack is over. So you're being reliant on being beat up in order to get the a 10% buff, and then plus every time you land uses an arts card, you're getting 10%, 10%, 10%. Now, probably back then that was pretty good, probably the better part of the main ability, but nowadays 10% is nothing. It is nothing. So I really feel if they wanted, well, not if, but when they're probably going to do is probably increase the percentage of. Well, first let's look at this: 10% to damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. And considering that they literally said in the tweet was that they're going to make her a powerful combo after a cover change. I think this here is probably going to be one of the major overhauls, and dare I say maybe 50% change, go from 10 to 50% to damage inflicted after enemy attack is over. So assuming that she swaps in, does the main ability, and then she gets hit, all right, and because of the tanking unit, she's obviously going to take a little bit of damage. When the person's done with her combo and she's ready to pretty much get priority again, 50% damage feels like oh yeah, I'm coming back with you, but even strong, even harder kind of attack style. So going from 10 to 50% I think would be pretty good, as long as they say it cannot be stacked, because you don't want to have a 400% attack increase from that.
Kind of cool,
Yeah, just imagine getting tapped a whole bunch. Tap, 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 and you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, I would say probably 10 to 50%, or maybe something around the lines of 50%, 40% after she takes damage. And this is 10 timer counts, so it's not going to last forever. And if they really want to make sure that she's able to get the most of it, I would probably say 20 timer counts. That's a pretty big chunk of the match. 20 timer counts, and the fact that you're also able to come back to this from switching would be really good. As far as the other half of the passive, plus 10% to damage received for 10 timer counts after every time this character uses an art. So this is one of those abilities that when you have the combo going against somebody, it's slowly going to show. But again, 10% is such a small boost to the damage. I really feel it's probably going to maybe buff to 20, 25% to damage received, because it's just regular damage received to somebody, and I'm assuming it's only going to be Kale giving the damage received to the person. So if that's going to be the case, I really feel like it's probably going to be 20, 25% in general for that. I really feel like this main ability suffers from the fact that you're relying on the enemy to do something to you for the first one, and then having to initiate the combo. There's no key being thrown on here. There's nothing like, oh, you're drawing a card. I feel like maybe on top of this, draw a blue card with key. That would be something good to have. I don't know. The main ability feels like it's such a weird mechanic that you're not gonna probably be reliant on a lot. I could be wrong, but anyway, what do you think, Red? What's your idea for the main ability?
Okay, so for the main ability, the 10 inflicted damage for 10 timer counts, I want that to be changed to 15% for 30 timer counts. And plus, I want it to stack up to at least 70. Because like you said, you don't just want to like keep it ongoing. So like just have a bunch of inflicted damage. Tap it there. With the 10 damage received, I'll do that 15 or 20. Because that'll actually help a lot. And like I agree with you what you said was like there's nothing coming from the main, just like this one little thing and then just like going on with the match. What I'd say Shinsuke's a defense type, get health, key, and a blue card, and that should be good enough.
Gaining health and key. And a blue card, yeah, because the blue card, it's one of those things that if you're able to come into a battle, hit a main ability, or, dare I say, you survive a rising rush, or you land a rising rush, excuse me, and you're in that situation where, okay, I need to have something to defend myself with, hit the main ability to see what the opponent's going to do, that type of thing. It's always good to have something in your deck to defend yourself with. So, yeah, I heavily agree with you on that. Okay, so our next one to look over is the Z ability. They never buff Z abilities, right? They just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, they leave it the way it is.
Okay, on to the uniques then, and then we'll kind of hypothesize what the other two are going to be. So according to here, we have intimidate, sustain blast damage up, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade. Actually, I hope we're actually. Let me see. Am I talking on here? Oh yeah, we are. Okay. Okay. I was afraid that our audio was not working. All right. So inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 20% to blast damage received for 15 timer counts when this character enters the battlefield. So inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade. So this is kind of those things that I think not a lot of people tend to notice when it's like, oh, plus 20% to extra damage received. It's not something you're actually like doing to them, but it's like, oh, okay, entering in all blast damage for that time when this character's here is going to be hitting a little harder, which I'd argue 15 timer counts is just the right amount of time for her to get her job done and then swap out. I don't ever see her sitting in the player's seat for longer than that. So yeah, I don't see that. In terms of blast damage, again, I think the blast damage is going to have to probably be increased to something more reasonable to, I would say 30-40%. And if they can do this, make this non-cancelable. Just because we don't want to run to a situation where she jumps in and then somebody like Vegito just uses a green card and now we don't do that damage anymore. It seems pretty basic, but I feel like if they wanted to do that, probably on top of that, make her blast cards cheaper, just so she can start popping them off easier. And that's it. Probably my main takeaway is when she enters in, one, make it go from 20% to probably like 35-40%. Also make her blast arts costs be cheaper, and then make it non-cancelable. I do feel like it'd be safe just to make this uncancelable.
Okay, so with me personally, I'm gonna say it again. Change the blast damage received to just damage received or inflicted damage received, because you might not have a blast in hand and it won't work. The cheaper blast cards I agree with, but then like I'll make it like 24. You like have it something in her passive that like gives her key restore. It's like faster. Like when you use it, it'll give you key. And I think that's about it. All I want really.
Okay. And now we get the major part of her kit here that is possibly the best thing about this unit when it first came out, and probably the only thing that really, if you decide to put her on before the Zenkai, was the only role she had, which was cover, destroy card. And on a unit that probably has better stats and is was it able to compete in this meta right now, this would be a huge problem. So thankfully she's getting her Zenkai. Randomly destroys 2 enemy cards when changing cover. That is like a big deal. Now you could say, well, what's stopping them from getting other cards when they're have a card draw speed of 1, 2, whatever the case is. But let's say you're Gogeta and you're popping off all these cards here and there, and then you throw Kale in, and then it looks like your ultimate attack gets destroyed, so he can't use that to decide the match. Stuff like that. It's also good for shutting down combos so they don't get their rising rushes that quickly. It's also good just to, in general, stop the combo in its tracks, so that way it also really does aggravate other players. Like there are times, especially with Red 21, where they're doing these combos, sidestepping and all that. You throw 21 in there, and they're like, there's that 1 second where they're just standing in place and like, wait a minute, I can't push this card that I was planning to push next because now it's destroyed. So it leaves an opening. It really does help. So she randomly destroys 2 enemy cards when changing cover, plus 30% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts, and plus 2 to own substitution count when activated. So right away, because they've done this already for a couple of other Zenkais, get rid of that sub count. Was it a penalty that they give her? Because that's too much of a big problem in this meta now. If you're going to be penalized for doing something as basic as swapping in to destroy cards, you're going to be hurting yourself more than helping. So that's the biggest change I feel like they're going to do. They're going to get rid of that sub count penalty when cover changing. For destroying cards, I don't think they're going to buff the amount of cards being destroyed. Ideally, I would like it to be 3 cards. That would be almost an entire card wipe. But considering that we're in a meta where we have all these combos that last a million years, I would definitely like to have a way to ensure that the combo gets really shut down in its tracks when you successfully pull off a cover. Because bear in mind, you can blindly throw Kale in to cover change, but there is a chance that someone can go around that and drop the combo, and then this entire passive won't be active. So make it really potent so that you're able to, if it goes off correctly, really shut down the opponent's combo. Because drop comboing is a thing to do in this game. So yeah. I would like to go from 2 to 3 cards when changing cover. Plus 30% damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. So this is just raw damage. So this was something that you were talking about earlier, Red, where you wanted to have 30% just in, or not 30, but like regular damage across the board damage. Excuse me, no blasties. I would say if they're going to make this one be as potent as the other ones, probably go from 30 to 40 or 40 to 50%. Just by having that, because if you're going on with that stinky main ability, that if it's active or not, that would be something to really make her a threat level, especially for a defense unit, because we talked about earlier, defense units don't typically hit very hard because their defenses are supposed to be the identifying factor of that unit. It's like with Ribrianne, their blue Ribrianne, where her main goal is to be a defensive tank, not there to be one comboing a unit to death. But if hopefully they can make this unit strong enough to push back the enemy team. So I would say 30 to probably 50% just for cover changing, just to have that reward for being able to destroy the cards and also force them to not swap out against you when you're taking priority. The last thing you want is to be taking priority and doing no damage. So they're just going to be sitting with their unit and be like, okay, I'll wait for your combo to finish because you ain't doing any actual damage to me. So that's my thing. And also get rid of sub count. I don't think there's more to this. I just think that they go from 2 to 3 cards, destroy those, and just slightly increase the damage inflicted. I think probably in terms of timer counts, make that go from 15 to probably 25, and just get rid of the sub count because sub count is just too much of a liability to have. All right, Red, what about you?
Randomly destroy 2 enemy cards. That's already good enough. I agree with you with the damage inflicted, boost it up to like 40, and then make the timer counts 20, and then remove the own substitute count because that's already kind of dumb enough. Because like there's enough units who like do that and like they don't get a penalty for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already good enough. And I'm gonna actually talk about what I had in mind for this unit, for like when we talk about the other 2 uniques.
Yeah.
Because I actually had a really good idea of like what she could do.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, okay. So for one of her other unique abilities, I kind of want her to act like future Gohan a little bit, like just to support the whole team. Because like, think about it, it's kind of like future Gohan, but coming in, destroying cards, being a nuisance.
Mm-hmm.
But then also like, I want her to support the team, because like how future Gohan is, and when you don't even have like a affirmative type, he's there to like give you a little, little defense. Because with this green card, it Yeah, reduces the nexus damage sustained by 30%. And then when he gets hit, pretty sure he gets another 30. And yeah, he acts like a defensive type when he really is just a melee type. So I want her, Kale, I want her to like give everybody a buff. Because like, I mean, females, rival universe, they all can use a supportive type because Vados isn't really cutting it anymore. She's, defenses are garbage, and she's just all around just bad. She can't do enough damage. She can't take anything. So I want Kale to be that supportive unit who's also the defensive unit because Girls already has some damage dealers for the Drive the Universe. So I feel like I really want her to be like future Gohan because future Gohan is literally as people keep on saying, future Gohan literally can fit on any team, and it doesn't even matter who you put him on. He is just there, and he's able to support the whole team. I want Kayla to be exactly like that and support teams that she's supposed to be on, and then also more.
Interesting. Is that pretty much your 2 cents worth on the uniques?
That's me.
Okay. Well, I actually completely forgot about that parallel to Future Gohan. If they were to make her a red version of Future Gohan, I'm pretty sure more people would be using this unit, this unit basically because Future Gohan's entire shtick, especially in every PvP match, has always been, yeah, I'm gonna cover in, and he's obviously not safe on blast, because the blast is always a thing you could see coming, or at least the majority of the time you could see coming. And then the fact that even if you use a strike card against him, he's sealing and destroying your cards. So you're just like, okay, I wish I could continue this combo, but he said no. So yeah, that is actually pretty interesting. I didn't think about that in terms of having him be a future Gohan, somewhat clone for defensive purposes. Though future Gohan, he's a range type, right? Or is he a melee type?
No, he's melee.
He's melee. Yeah, that I think that's probably going to be the only thing that kind of makes him better than the scale, even when she gets her Zenkai, because he's actually able to hit hard too, and push against. But where I think the thing that this Kale is going to suffer for is just damage dealing in general, because defense unit. But I will agree with you on that. I'm not going to really steal what I was thinking about, but it is definitely something on the table. I feel like they're going to do for which they're probably going to have some ceiling, and also destroying the cards there. But I was more thinking about in terms of like a partner mechanic. We already have Caulifla Zenkai 7 in the game, and regardless of what you guys feel like on there, I do feel like the Caulifla Zenkai 7 possibly one of the most underwhelming girls Zenkais in the game. That just me spitting some hot takes there because or it's probably not a hot take, but the Caulifla Zenkai 7 on entry was really good damage dealer when Saiyans were really prevalent, and of course they're always going to be. But unlike 18, where she had that card speed increase every time you force people to switch, the Caulifla only got key. So it's like, okay, you have all this key, but you can't do anything with the unit once you run out of cards. So you didn't have any type of key. How was it? A card draw speed that would allow her to take advantage of all that key that they're giving her. I'm hoping that this Kale inadvertently kind of buffs that Caulifla a bit. I don't know how they would be able to insert cards from this one to the other one, but I'm hoping that one of her uniques gives her the ability to, if there's like a Caulifla or I guess a rival universe character on the team that she swaps into, she's able to like either drop in a card or give them draw speed. That'd be something interesting as well. I think if she swaps out to a rival universe character, she gives them card draw speed for, I don't know, like 10 seconds or something, and that would probably be kind of like a tiny fix to Caulifla, and would probably be able to make her runnable again in terms of being a damage dealer. I know she's melee primarily, but that'd be something cool as a support. The other thing is I was thinking about is when she jumps in, have the ability to come in with extra ki, and probably do the same thing that they did with Chilled, where when she jumps in, she has a blue card. She comes in with like a blue card, probably 40 ki on entry, and it kind of gives you like something to play with when she drops in. Throw the blue card, chuck it. They don't see it coming, that type of thing. In terms of that, either that or just expand on the fact that she's cover changing. Maybe increase her card draw speed when she's already she comes back from a cover, and she gets card draw speed and possibly maybe a couple cards in her hand, stuff like that. I really wanted to kind of emphasize on her keeping being alive more. Who knows? Maybe when she jumps in, they give her a green card as well, so that way incentivizes her to heal herself up, so that way she could tank more, something like that. My main focus on this character is probably just kind of be like a support to other rival universes. So I guess in short, have her swap out and give the other team or other team members card draw speed, because she's obviously not going to be doing the damage. They will. And then when she comes in, probably give her like a blue card or a green card on entry for like a limited amount of times. I'd say probably the green one would be more potent because healing. And as you just stated, Bardock heals 15%. So if that's potent enough for him, I think it would be really potent for her just to drop in probably 3 times a green card, pop one of those, and then she's pretty much almost back to being at full again. So yeah, that's what I feel in essence about this Kale here. But your idea too, in terms of having her be essentially a female version of the future Gohan, being a really annoying disruption unit, does feel like it's in the cards way more. I think they'll probably do that and probably give her a green card. Probably like the balance between our ideas here, because the healing is such a big deal in here. Oh great, Dark's here. Hi Dark, hi Dark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were just wrapping things up talking about the brand new Kale Berserk here, because we were pretty much coming up with predictions to see just how she's going to be changing with the Zenkai. I'm assuming the Zenkai is going to be tonight. So
are you happy about the Zenkai?
Oh, I'm definitely happy with the Zenkai. It's just a matter of, man, I've been having to switch up my team almost every week now. I ended up getting 21. I ended up playing with the green 18, and I'm seeing another female supporter, which is Kale, and I'm like, man, how many times am I gonna have to move? Wait, what?
He did need a red.
Well, technically, 21's a red unit, and she's actually pretty phenomenal.
Well, 2 reds is better than 1.
True. So, in closing, I want to say that this Kale...
If Kale buffs...
Huh?
I said if Kale buffs red female or something, you could have like a real advantage.
Oh, that'd be like my own personal perfect scenario, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be Red Rival Universe, isn't that right, Red?
Maybe.
I highly doubt it. I really highly doubt it's going to be her Zenkai ability is going to be red females. It's not going to happen. It is definitely going to be Rival Universe.
Wish upon a star.
I've been wishing ever since Khalifa came out that they would do that, purple females. That would have been such a expansive team to go on. Look at that. We would have been not only Kakunsa, it would have been Chi-Chi, it would have been Videl, Mai, this 18, stuff like that. That would have been way more useful to me. Oh, the Bulma. Imagine the Bulma getting Zenkai or Zenkai buffed. But that's obviously not going to happen. So I think the safe bet is that it's going to be Red Rival Universe. And if they really want to be spicy, Red Saiyans. Like, do you think they would even go into Red Saiyans?
No, they wouldn't do Red Saiyan. There's no way.
Or Red Super Saiyans? I mean, she's technically Super Saiyan 2 in this form, right?
No,
she's a Super Saiyan.
Super Saiyan?
Kale doesn't really reach Super Saiyan 2.
My goodness.
Shoei technically, in a way, reached Super Saiyan 2 when they fused together with Kale.
Oh my goodness! So that means that she's gonna be running on a Bardock team. I know someone out there is gonna be running her with Bardock just to see what happens.
Like that, but now he is technically a Super Saiyan.
So yeah, that's something. But in closing, because we're actually about to wrap things up here. In closing, I am really hopeful that this unit ends up being relevant again. The past couple Zenkais have been really good. Like the Zenkai 21, fantastic. She's really good. Like I honestly, feel like that 21 is going to age probably pretty well for the next couple of months. And the let me take a quick look back here because this is something I want to do for my own thing. So in terms of like the female Zenkais, we got 21 base, which I feel like she's gonna end up being moved very soon. We got 21. There's the Majin 21 Zenkai, which I think is really good. I think 18 Zenkai is just gonna be one of those units that you, depending on the meta, she's gonna end up falling off and then coming back on just because of how good her kit is. Was it? I don't even count the Zenkai 7 Broly and Chilai. Caulifla, I think, is probably the weakest Zenkai of the entire team setup I would be running. And oh yeah, that's it. So yeah, Caulifla probably is like the worst Zenkai out of the entire females that have been Zenkai'd. So yeah, I really hope that Kale doesn't end up suffering the same fate that Caulifla did, because Caulifla is just all about melee against Saiyans. So yeah,
Khalifa would have been a good choice if it were a Zenkai back then.
she was a Zenkai. She was Zenkai like almost a year ago.
No.
What?
No, I mean like when Zenkais were like sort of new theme.
Oh, when they were extremely busted?
I know, yeah, like if she was one that it was Zenkais, not like the first, but like a little afterwards, like when Cooler came.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was during the time where they were not making them as OP, but they were still pretty strong and hard to deal with.
Because I know everything's busted now. Anything that's pretty decent, it's not considered good.
Yeah, because I think the two units that are Zenkai that are like the most annoying to fight in battle these days, and I'm not talking about LF Gohan. LF Gohan is just a power monger. It's that Future Gohan, and I just had it at the top of my head. There was the other unit that is
Revival Gohan?
No, Majin Buu. Majin Buu Zenkai 7 is another annoying unit that I feel like.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, but imagine if you have a deck full of strike cards, and you start the battle against Majin Buu.
That is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is just outsmart the opponent.
Well, I mean, that goes for every single situation in PvP, but like Majin Buu takes away so much of your control in the game that you're left helpless, and it's a 50-50 shot if you're going to get priority or not, or they're going to get priority or not, because there's either you start the battle by throwing off a key card and hope that it ends up carrying you, or you throw a key card and they know they're going to do that, so they vanish, and then they get the perfect vanish on you. It's always that thing there. But
every time when I try to get them with Boo, they suddenly have Ultra Instinct.
Exactly, because this game's been around for such a long time, so they know how Boo works. But yeah, so anyway, we're gonna close things up here. We're gonna wrap it up. This Kale, I'm looking forward to this Kale tomorrow night. I don't think it's gonna be tonight. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's gonna be tomorrow night. I will be doing a stream. I will be doing a stream when the unit drops. For both when the unit has his kit already available, and we'll be looking over that, and then when another stream for when we actually do the Zenkai and some PvP. I'm gonna be killing myself a little bit because I got work tomorrow, but thankfully a lot of these updates take place near the end of the day, so I should be able to have enough time to do it. I'm not gonna be going as far as the Zenkai 21 video where I went for like an hour long and just suffered the rest of the week, so expect them to be very bite-sized ones like this one. So without further ado, any last things you want to say, Red, before we end things off?
I'm excited for EX Red 17 Zenkai.
Oh. Red 17.
I wanted a couple one.
Oh, go for it.
The Sparky 17.
Oh, yeah, the Red 17. Yeah, I know the EX 17. I really hope it ends up being a revival for the EX Zenkai system, because we haven't had a good EX Zenkai in quite some time. I think the last one was a Frieza unit.
Well, what about the Future Green Gohan?
Future Green Gohan.
He's good.
I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we go on. Before we get on for like hours upon hours on this stream, just talking about the other stuff, I want to end things off here with the Kale. So I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you probably tomorrow night, and hopefully Red will be there with me when we dissect the data mines. So until then, see you guys. Bye bye.